All right. So meanwhile, guys, how are you? Hold on a minute. I'm turning on some of the cameras here. There we go. The 3D. It's on. It's up and running. Hold on a minute. Get that started. So, the wife went in for surgery yesterday. Today's Tuesday, by the way. So Monday she went in for surgery. And I took her up there at 6:30. I had to leave her at a certain spot, which is understandable at this point. So that was done. And then she said, if it's going to be 3 or 4 hours, by the time she gets prepped, she gets in, she gets out, she goes, why don't you just go home? I said, all right. So I came home. It's a long ride, however. Well, it's a long ride for us. Let's put it that way. It's a half an hour, 30 minutes, 35 minutes, depending on the traffic. It can take you as long as 45 minutes, but for us that's a long time because everything is right here. In other parts of the country, a half-hour ride is normal. An hour ride is normal. Well, it's not quite like that around here. So, and we never really leave the town for anything. There's no need for us to really have to leave the town for anything. Everything is basically right here. So, let me heat my coffee up. It's about 1 o'clock right now in the afternoon. So the wife went for surgery. She called me, this is a good place for me to put all my iron. She called me about 10:30. And she had already come out of surgery, and she was in her room, and she ordered dinner, or lunch that is, and she called me again at 1 o'clock. She had had lunch, turkey, mashed potatoes, stuffing, broccoli. I mean, this particular hospital is more like a resort than it is anything else. When you go in for surgery and things, all the rooms are one bed. There's a nurse for like every 3 or 4 patients, if that. And then it's nicely laid out. Like I say, it's more like a retirement home than it is anything else. Hey, Nick. They do have an emergency area, but their emergency doesn't have any like trauma centers or anything like that. They said their emergency room is more for, cuts, bruises, flus, colds, maybe an appendix, but for most part, it's minor. Everything goes into Yale or another hospital if it's serious. Depending on the severity, will depend on what hospital. But meanwhile, she's home. I picked her up, and she came home. Well, we were actually home by 4 o'clock. She's got a walker. She hasn't sat down. I got to keep telling her. But she says as long as she feels comfortable, they told her she can do whatever she wants. There's a few things she can't do. Like they don't want her crossing her legs or doing any twisting, sort of. She says, but for most part, And then I talked to the nurse, and you know, the nurse said the same thing, so I kind of have an idea what's going on. So therapy, this morning the nurse came and took a temperature, seen how she was doing, came to the house, you know, and went through, you know, the do's and the don'ts and how you feeling and are you getting around, and you know, which she is. She'll probably come walking out here in a minute with the walker. She was laying down for a few minutes, but for most part, it seems to be doing okay. She's recovering really well. I mean, it's amazing now, and the work that they do, and you know the way that we ourselves have evolved, you know, to deal with certain things. So far so good. So 1 o'clock or so, not positive, but somewhere around, yeah, shortly, the therapist is coming, and they'll go through some therapy with her. And I told her to call me because I'm out in the shop when they get there on the radio, so that and if she needs me real quick, she doesn't have to dial the phone. She can just call me on the radio. And I want to be there, you know, when they do the therapy in case I have a question. And then tomorrow they're going to come by again and check the stitches and things. They couldn't check it today because it has to be 48 hours after the surgery. And today, right now, would only have been something like 15 or 16 hours. So they couldn't check it now. So they're going to come back tomorrow to check that. And then they're going to naturally do more therapy. I think therapy is 3 times a week they come to the house. And the nurse, I believe, comes twice a week for 2 weeks. Yeah, I think that's what it was. So, and then if she wants to continue therapy, there's a place over here on 84 East Main, I'm sorry, North Main, that it's part of Yale, and they have a therapy thing there, which I've done a few times when I had my back and stuff like that. But for most part, I might have my heart attack. She may or may not. She's an active person. You know, she knows how she feels and what she can do. And I'll keep an eye on her to make sure she doesn't push herself too hard. But other than that, everything seems to be going okay. Microphone seems to be working okay. And so I just want to come out here and hang out for a minute, kind of just putz around. I want to, I got to figure out this thing here. This is driving me nuts. This was a good working unit. However, the switch on it was bad. I went to turn it on, and the switch started sparking. I said, well, that's no good. I don't want that to be going on. So, let me get my coffee. This is my first cup of coffee, and it's almost 1 o'clock. I've been up since, I don't know, 8:30. And I didn't get to sleep very much last night because I wanted to make sure that if she had a problem, I was going to hear her. So my sleeping last night wasn't very good. Anyhow, this thing, the switch on it was really bad. So as I'm taking the switch out, I noticed that a couple of the wires were just as bad. And when I'm looking at it, I'm thinking to myself, well, I don't want to go by what I see because it just didn't seem like it was right. Now I have a wire here, and I have two wires here that were connected to this post. But there's another wire here someplace, wherever it went. Right here. And I got to figure out where all these wires supposedly go, so I can kind of get this done. Now, the only reason why I went as far as I did is because one of these, see this strap right here and this here? Well, this wire was caught under the strap and coming out between there. And I'm thinking, well, that's not a good idea either. Eventually, that's just going to cut through the wire, and I'm going to end up with a problem. Pepperoni and palm roll, or whatever you want to call it. So what I need to do now is get my strippers and a meter and try to figure this out. Because the more it sits here, the more things are going to get confused. So here to here, what do we have? Nothing. Okay. Nothing. 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 Well, that's not a very good sign. Yeah, the meter's working. See what I mean? There's something missing here. Hold on a minute, guys. I need to drill a hole. Well, it'd be better for me to do it by hand, I think. We'll see. Yeah, I'm gonna be better off with the wood bit. Seeing that I have it, might as well use it. Way too big. Where's my small one? I know I have one.